Okay, so I made a video today. It's January. Let's see what is it? It is January the 15th. Um, January the 15th is what this day is, and it is 1:39. But I made a video 48 and 49, I believe, and those two videos could go consecutive back to back. One of them's a short, so sorry about that. I ran out of room making the first video, so I had to go and delete some of my videos that I hate doing. But they go two and one, so if it drops off, the other part of the video of 48 is 49 in my shorts. But basically, I think it's video 48 or it's 49. The guy that I'm talking about, that I found his Facebook, and he's he's talking about like how he is Ose, and he says, but basically says he's not Ose. He says anybody referring, sorry, he's basically saying, like, if he's not saying that he's Ose, he's saying is if anybody refers to me as Ose, or on this page refers to me as Ose, then they're liable by defamation and they'll be gone. Like, it's kind of like a threat, and I'm not sure if that's it's hard to translate these people because these people are so sadistically weird. But this is a video that is about Ose, and this is what I think this guy is referring to, because in this video there is a guy that is 13 years old, and he goes and he starts hearing voices, and when he starts hearing voices, the voices start giving him like what he would think would be psychic ability, and then he goes to school and there's a pedophile at his school, and then he follows. One day he skips school because I guess the librarian was the pedophile or whatever the heck is going on. But then he goes from wondering what's going on to finding this guy at his house with a girl, and then shooting him and killing him, which makes, in this video, it makes it seem like he's the hero. But that's not true, because if this 13-year-old boy, if this is a true story, is going to always have to look over his shoulder and always have to serve this group, and this group is doing it through transmuting utility, because they have already that guy was probably like already previously in prison for what he was doing, or he had or somebody had racketed up a bunch of transmuting utilities on his name, and then they sent a 13-year-old boy to kill him, so they'll never get caught. And all the money from the off book debt and all the money from his custom went and paid out these bills. And essentially, this is this guy. He grows up into Ose, and this is on Dark Waters. And what he's saying basically is that he knows who he is now, and his name is Ose, and he knows your deepest dark fear. So now he's an astral vampire, like, and it's because he got in good with this group, and he learned about what they are about, and he serves this group. And this group this is not demonic activity. This is transmitting utility for like the Order Nine Angles. These kind of groups have this capability. And I've found this guy on the internet, and I just think it's weird that he has a thing that says that he's Ose, but don't refer to him as that. And then also, if you look at his business, he's Chinese, probably, or he just studies Chinese language, and he's just very smart. But his business is a child's cheerleading event. So I don't know if if he's using his business to like hunt people. I can't really speak on it. I don't know this, and this is why I said, like, if anybody does take interest and has credentials, I'm not just gonna give this guy's name to anybody, because that would be stupid, like, so he can go some douchebag and go harass him. I'm just saying, like, if you are a professional and you do take interest in this kind of weirdness, like, but this is big time fascism, big time money. It goes from every aspect of just to saying that you're a protector of people, which we have the law in the United States. And I'm pro law, because if not, then after that, then it'd be like, well, you stole something, so now you're liable to be rigged in off of this. And what I see going on with this kind of equipment is, again, them setting up a 186 international law through the Sanhedrin, and then it's trying to take Palestinian territories hold within the United States. And it's starting out with 186 applications, if you could ever find out what that means. And if you don't know what it is, then comment me. And if you were law enforcement or something, or have the credentials, I'll try the best to explain what I know, and what I figured out. And if it has no truth to it whatsoever, then maybe I'm just a conspiracy nut, which I don't think I am. But and then it's going to go from the 186 international laws to Palestinian territories. And it's not the Palestinians that's going to be at fault. It's going to be the fact that they have these demon groups, like Temple of Blood, and that goes into Garesha, and then it goes into Order Nine Angles, and all this weird quasi esoteric bullshit. And but the Temple of Blood does use something of this utility, I believe, and that when they're in 186 territory, you could be in a Palestinian territory within the United States and not even know it. as long as you have the right politicians. Sorry, but that's not a bad thing. Palestinians should be felt welcome here, and they have a lot to be scared of. But DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is giving um, these Palestinian territories just, I think it was like $1.8 billion to secure themselves, which is a good thing, but not whenever the Palestinian territories are already infiltrated by the 333 Liber 333 Greater Sanhedrin, which is the Temple of Blood, to run satellite equipment to be like, look, because the I'm not sure what the Sanhedrin are, because when they were the Greater Sanhedrin, they were Persian, and I don't know what they would saw, because I don't know what they would define as a let's say a false prophet, but I know a Christian would be a false prophet, a Catholic would be a false prophet, potentially any other alternate form of Islam. If like they were like, well, your family, father, grandfather didn't come from Muhammad, and Hinduism would be a false prophet, and then they would just rig you into the temple that you don't know about, send these transfer utilities to the satellite operator, and they would practice this shit on you. Like, you would be getting killed by either a child at school or like a gang member in the streets, or they would just kill you by satellite harassment to suicide. Suicide, I believe, in the future is what this group, Temple of Blood, is after, and Temple of Them, because on certain write-ups, if they're transmitting utility through like the folks, which ordinary angles is in the folk law. If you look at my look at my video, diplomatic community video number 5, and really watch it, and you'll see that this is known. I got the article from this article out of Britain, but the ordinary angles overshadows the folk, because you have to understand the folk is, they're not. I know a folk gangster. He's like mixed, and like he's in Texas. I don't really. I think a lot of them, and I don't really know about his business with the gang. I don't ever ask him, and predominantly he's a Freemason as well. And he's a great guy. But at the same time, when you get up into, I have another friend that he's in Florida, and he has a swastika on the back of his head. And all of his boyfriends are like neo-Nazis. I didn't even know they were allowed to do that. But at the same time, the ordinary angles does overshadow the folk, and they went and they did. They're getting paid through foundations. Like, even here in North Carolina, we have an event called a folk moot, and it generates a whole lot of equity just from the arts. And it's a great time. It's a great thing to go to. I'm sure I've never been to the folk moot, but folk moot goes back to Scandinavian law within paganism, and it goes back to paganism. It doesn't go to paganism exactly, but folk mooting is actually generating a lot of money through just equity. But if these groups have determined that through Australia, they determined that an EEG to satellite well, it's not called telekinesis, it's called psychotronics. If you go to the CIA site, it's called psychotronics, and it is real. It's not bullshit. People would think, oh, well, it's schizophrenia. No, the folk went to Australia specifically, and they started practicing EEGs on revenge porn. Now, I don't know what revenge porn is. I would imagine it would be something like, like I would like some rough kind of porno, but I don't think that's that. I think it's like if you were to be in like, if you were to be Arabic or something, and like you slept with a girl, and it could get that girl killed because they're not supposed to be sleeping with you, and then you broke up, and you were like, well, haha, I just posted a porno of you, and now you're going to be in trouble with your family within your Palestinian territory and all this other quasi bullshit. I think that would be like maybe revenge porn. And I cover, if this offends you for me talking, I mean, this is my community channel. I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm trying to just bring awareness. But this, they determined that each and every brain signal that transferred a brain psychotronics to another person. So if two people were communicating at constant rate of psychotronics, each and every psychotronic sent to bouncing from one brain to another, they legally determined within folk law is $2 each and every one of them. So this is what is going on. So they're making a shit ton of money somehow, somewhere. And even if like the Freemasons got involved in it, and they're not the CIA, like Freemasons on public charity, if they made $10 billion off of EEGs, off of a folk law from Australia, they would make on public charities, Freemasons get paid 30%. And then the rest would just be charity. And that, I mean, and so the community would benefit in certain communities, but those I would assume would be folk communities predominantly, not so much Palestinian communities, and not so much any other community, because charity, even though it's kind of like robbery, it's like, well, it just so happens that you live here. And it's like, well, and it's not robbery. It's just you take care of your community, but by killing somebody else, I think that's pretty sorry. Yeah, just check out Ose and Dark Waters. But this is real, and this is like, my other go-to guy, and I wrote him a good letter. There's another guy from Temple Blood. I don't know how you practice these groups, but I talked to them in plain sight, and I just admire like the information that they're giving because they're real ones. Like, but Titian Nibiru, like Titian, the vampire, he is a real psychic vampire, like on this level, but he doesn't do anything bad. He pretty much got welcomed into the world, and I think he was a victim of the world. Um, and he's just strong. I think he's just a really strong individual, and even possibly Jafar. Jafar, he's a Temple of Blood member, and he claims to be a Nexium. Now, I don't know if he was a victim and like they just overcame some very hardcore transmutant utilities, and maybe they're just survivors of something that they thought naturally seemed like, they think that like I'm not talking trash about them, like, because I love these guys. I tell them every time I get on, if I get on the comments, I say, look, keep doing what you do, freedom of religion, but just make sure that you don't become an extremism case, because like this Ose, like in this video, they'll make you an extremist. And that's and it's like the suicide bombers. It's like why would somebody that believes in Islam, their end goal would be to commit suicide? You're excommunicated, and it's because of shit like this. People like this, just like sorry as demonic people, and they're making a lot of money, but they have an agenda, and the agenda isn't communism. Even these people are robbing communism. The agenda is an imperium, and it is just purely what it is, to build hell on earth. But thank you for listening.